Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 79 of Those Muckrakers. I'm Pete,
And I'm Pat.
and we still haven't found a better name. We're terrible at branding. Help us.
Do we need a better name?
I don't think that Those Muckrakers is like a real. It's not like Coke or Nike or Adidas. You know what I mean?
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, short, simple, and to the point is always what wins, sadly. But yeah, we need something not only better recognize. Like, no one knows what muckrakers mean. They read it and they're like, ugh, that doesn't sound good, and so they just sort of skimp on to the next podcast.
Uh, the only thing that I've ever had that is what? How did you put it? Short, to the point, and whatever is. Well, anyway, you know where that joke was going. Yeah. Everything else in my life has been long-winded and not necessary, I think.
Maybe. So, what could be a better name for our podcast so it would get people to click on it? Just call us like those boob talkers, and just every avatar for our show was just a different pair of boobs.
Man, you know what we should have done? We should have gone with like, this world is poison and we are the cure. No, wait, that's a band. We can't do that.
Yeah, Poison's a band, The Cure's a band.
I was telling you a little bit. I went back and did stand up for the first time last night in years.
Oh yeah? How'd
And
that go?
like I say it went terribly, but I felt great afterward. It's just I haven't done it in so long. It just turned into one of those like I didn't do my jokes as I had pictured them in my head, and it was kind of a just like
So,
like a 3 minutes of like rambly like
so maybe you felt great afterwards because you feed on human suffering.
or I feed on my own suffering. I guess I'm a suffering feedback loop.
So the worse you feel, the better you feel. Actually, that's not such a bad problem to have, except it also becomes a paradox because as you feel better, you'll feel worse because you feed off of your own misery, but you can't be miserable if misery makes you happy. Oh, that's a killed your own grandfather kind of paradox.
It is, and that set last night was so bad it definitely killed somebody's grandfather. But no, it was fun. It was just good to get back on the horse and get back in the game. But I was just like, ugh, that was. I was gonna record the set too, and I was like, maybe don't record this one. Just go feel out the space. And I'm super glad that I didn't record it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's too bad that we don't have like evidence of how terribly you did. Maybe it was great and you just don't realize it.
Oh, I
That's
mean,
possible too. Yeah.
you can generally judge by how good or bad your stand-up set was by how quiet the audience is.
That just means that they were paying attention. They were fascinated by you. They're all like leaning in and clinging to every word because you're making some really good points up there. They're like nodding and saying, "Yes, yes, tell us more, tell us more." They totally forget to laugh. That just goes right
My
past them.
my set went like if you've ever met like a little kid that wants to tell you about his day and he's really excited, but like he's just like,
Yeah.
and I'm 5, and then what happened was that the one time I went to school and there was a cheeseburger, like, and you're like, God damn, dude, come on, take some breaths, like you got to plot this out.
And the Jerry was there and he had a popsicle and he said, "Oh, can I have the popsicle?" He said, "Oh, I can have the popsicle. This is my popsicle. That's what I can do, huh?"
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
okay
It's
then.
pretty bad. So speaking of with, I
Thinking
can't
of
really,
speaking of width, by which I mean height and length.
I can't even podcast now. So I have this news story that comes from our home state of Georgia, but I wanted to share it with you as I want to know what you would do.
All right.
So, an escaped Georgia prison gang inmate, James Hot Rod Owenby, is captured by police. Apparently, this guy stole a car when he was out cutting grass.
Was it a
And
hot rod?
no, it was a City of Thomaston Parks and Public Spaces truck.
So shouldn't he be James City Parks and Public Spaces McGuffey or whatever his last name was? Not James Hot Rod?
Yeah, buddy, you're no longer James Hot Rod Owenby. You're James City of Thomaston Parks and Public Spaces Owenby. Because you don't steal hot rods, bitch. You just steal public parks trucks.
Yep. We have
So,
relabeled you, James.
so yeah, he stole the truck and got away. And then I guess they were like, yeah, just put out a APB for a slow-moving Parks and Rec vehicle. Um, and they caught him. Well, what's weird about it is, so this was in what county was this? This was in Dawson, Georgia, I believe.
Okay.
And what struck me weird about it was he took off in an unknown direction, and I go, who was watching this dude? Like that he was able to like steal a truck, and then they're like, "Which way did he go?" And the guard's like, I don't know." Because we've been in places like that before, like Thomaston and Dawson and whatnot. Like, there's like one road. Did he go left or right?
He went north by north south.
Like, just
I'm a
all
Thomaston guard.
right. Get two cop cars. You each go in a different direction. I'm sure you'll find him. And
Yep.
they did. But what the reason I bring up this particular news story is I have two questions for you. Number one, what kind of sentence would you have to have before you escape from prison? And if you were in prison, because he was in a prison gang, what prison gang would you join or would you not join, and why? Also,
So,
he was jailed for burglary, which I know only carries a couple years sentence. So that's why I'm like, at what point would you
home
be like, I'm serving my sentence, or would you be like, I'm out?
home burglary.
Yeah.
Let me think. So, I thought you were gonna ask me what should his sentence be for stealing that truck, and I was about to say, just like put him in county for a few days and tell everyone what his crime is. Their mocking of him would be his own punishment. But okay, so how long would I have to be in prison before I would try to escape? Anything over a year, I think, and I would
Really?
be yeah. Fuck it. Why would I stick around for that long? I mean,
Because I feel like
once you're in jail, your life is ruined, right? Like no one's gonna want to hire you whenever you get
because
out.
because I feel like
So if
you're
my life
you're
is fucked anyway, who cares? What are they gonna do? Shoot me?
because I feel like your sentence for escaping is going to be longer than the sentence you got if it
Well, what is the additional years for attempted escape?
That's a good question. I don't know that. I've never been to jail.
If that number is greater than the number of years that I've been sentenced to, then I will not try to escape. If it's over, then I will. But even then, like I'm gonna be bored. All I'm gonna think about all day, every day, is how I can get out of there, and how what could people have possibly not have thought of it up to that point.
I'm
So,
trying to I'm trying to figure out what the sentence is for escaping prison. But yeah, you're
uh,
anything over a year and you're like, I'm out.
yeah. Now, legitimately, for real, if I'm ever
Oh,
in.
it's really not that bad. It's 1 to 3 extra years.
So yeah, anything over 1 year, and I'm like, fuck it. Worst case scenario, this doubles my sentence, but my life is ruined anyway because I'm, just wasted a year of it in jail. Plus, I have like this shit on my record every time I go to apply for a job from now on.
I don't think that escaping from prison should be well. It should be a crime, but I don't think you should incur any extra penalties for escaping.
Well, I mean, they're trying to discourage people from doing it, but
I mean, you're already in prison. It's like I think you're pretty discouraged. I don't think anybody escape is going to be like, oh, I'm going to get an extra 3 years. I don't know. I think that it's just that's my kind of my motto in life is just one of those just like if you can do it and get away with it, good for you. Um,
yeah, I mean, deterrence never works. So I mean, you're right. Saying that there is an additional sentence is not going to stop anyone from trying.
I think we should make it more fun. Like if you escape from prison, there's an automatic bag of gold, like something crazy, like a bag of gold doubloons, price on your head, and you can be brought back dead or alive. Uh, but if you're out, you're out. You know what I mean? Like if we catch you, we catch you. We don't, we don't. But there's always that bag of doubloons floating over you.
Yeah,
Did you hear that news story
maybe.
from years ago about the guy that was supposed to serve 20 years in prison and never showed up?
No, was it like a white collar criminal that just had to voluntarily turn himself in and
No,
didn't?
he had robbed a Wendy's at gunpoint, right? He didn't hurt anybody, but he had robbed a Wendy's. So they sentenced him. And here's the thing about prison is I guess unless it's a particularly heinous crime, you're convicted, and then like I guess you go back for sentencing, and then
Right.
there's a specific time that you have to either drive yourself to prison or they send a prison bus to pick you up, and then you go in and serve your time.
Hmm.
And so this guy just like didn't show up, and then they just through some kind of clerical error, they never came looking for him. And so for 20 years, he just like lived his life perfectly without stepping a foot over the line, never got a traffic ticket or anything, joined joined a church, like ran a youth group, like an outstanding member of society.
So he didn't run, he didn't flee, they just didn't go and get him, and he just lived his life?
Yeah, and then when the 20 years ended, they were like, all right, time to release this guy. And they're like, wait a minute, hold on. He's not here. Where is he?
Hold on, head count. 1, 2, 3, uh-oh.
1, 2, fuck. Um, and so at the end of the 20 years, they realized he never showed up. And then they were like, well, we got to go get him.
Do they, though?
Yes, you have to serve your sentence.
Oh, that's too bad.
I don't remember what happened because last I read it was up in the air, but they were like, should we put this guy away for 20 more years? Or because his whole life was spent with just like, I know at any moment they would kick in the door and they would come get me.
I'm Googling this right quick. Hold on.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know
Guy
what, man?
sentenced to 20 years he never showed up to his sentence.
Yeah, I was
just reading
thought,
that into my phone just to see what.
I thought that,
Cornelius
like,
Michael Anderson III. It was. Anderson was not.
so my opinion was like, dude,
yeah,
you know
armed
what?
robbery in 2000, sentenced to 13 years.
Sorry, 13, not 20, but it's a lot of years.
Due to a clerical error, his bond was not revoked when a warrant was issued for his arrest. It is unclear why he was not arrested in a prison service team, but apparently due to clerical errors, this was in Missouri. They thought he was already in prison. On July 25th, 2013, he was arrested and required to serve his 13-year sentence. The case stirred controversy when, by April 2014, his case began receiving extensive national and international attention. Anderson's attorney filed several appeals and petitions for his release from prison, and on May 5th, 2014, Anderson was released from prison. So he served 2 years. In 2014, he was arrested for another crime.
No! 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 What was his other crime?
Hold on. He was arrested for another crime, but subsequent videotape evidence showed that he could not have committed the crime, and charges were dropped with an apology by the circuit attorney, Joyce.
Oh, man, because this was the feel-good story that made you go, God damn it, stop committing crimes! You just won the jail lottery, you maniac!
So, yeah, that's the rest of the story. He served a bit of time in jail, and then they let him out again.
I don't like it. I don't like it, but I think it's fair. You got away with 2 years of a 13-year sentence. All right, you know what? That's fair. You really lucked out because
I think it's fair because he turned his life around within those 13 years.
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
He proved that he could be a better person, and I wish that our prison system was like that. It forced people to become better people. Don't sentence them to be in a box for 20 years. Sentence them to be required to be a better person, because right now in this life you are not required to be a good person. You can be an asshole if you want and walk free on the streets, flipping people off, speeding, riding people's asses, whatever. You can be an asshole. It's okay. I think once you commit a crime, it's no longer okay to be an asshole. You are required to be a good person.
So you want to do like the Chinese and reprogram people, where we just like, wherever you go, you have a government official shadowing you, and they're just going, be a good person, be a good person, and you're like,
yes, but only for people that have committed crimes, not for everyone. China does that for everybody. I say just for criminals.
Well,
they are required to be a good person.
China does that for people that just happen to be like Chinese Muslims.
But yeah.
Stop being Muslim. Stop being Muslim. Stop being Muslim. And you're like, oh God, okay, shut up.
But of course, if you kill people, then yeah, of course, lock you up in a box if you're a danger to people. But if it's any other type of crime, like burglary or whatever, then...
I'm a big fan of like punishment fits the crime, and if you kill people, you are sentenced to a life of being an EMT in the most dangerous and heart-wrenching like neighborhoods and places in the world, so that you have to save lives and like hold like children that got shot in a drive-by and try to bring them back, so that like every day you have to think about the fact that life is precious. And then if you fuck that up, we just lock you away forever.
Holy shit, I like that idea.
I want the punishment to fit the crime. If you robbed a Wendy's, guess what? You're gonna work at Wendy's, and you're gonna work the worst shifts You gonna make all the burgers. You gonna clean the grease traps.
Is it a national holiday? Get your ass to Wendy's. You're working a double shift.
Yeah. Is
And
it
he'll
the
be like,
weekend? Too bad.
no.
Yeah. Fucking punishment fits the crime, dude. Like,
Mandatory double shift on your birthday. Sorry,
exactly.
you do the crime, you do the time. You rob this
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
go work on your birthday.
I'm just a big fan of just people going, fuck! They forced me to learn some goddamn empathy. But yeah, that's what I'm a big fan of. Oh, and the other question. So, you're in prison, right?
Yes. What gang would I join? What are my options?
I don't know. Do you join a prison gang? Like, what do you do? How do you operate? And I know while you're thinking about that, if I go to prison, I think the only time that I try to escape is when they just go, life! And I'm like, I'm out. Actually, I don't even think I would escape, dude. I think I would put all my juices into becoming a prison lawyer.
Do you think that I could just become, like, find the biggest guy on the yard, right? And then go become his girlfriend?
I think that's very easy to do. I think that's probably the easiest prison thing to do. And that's what they should tell you.
And then I'd have my own pimp to protect me. That's not a bad idea, right?
Movies get people hurt. You know, movies are like, find the biggest guy and whoop his ass. But
yeah,
really,
no, do you think no one had that idea before you? Everyone
Right?
had that idea because of movies.
Yeah.
He's used to random people just walking up and trying to deck him.
Movies should be like, find the biggest, meanest guy.
And suck his dick.
Yeah, be his fucking girlfriend. When he comes back to the cell in the evening, rub his feet, make him dinner. You know what I mean? Like, be one of those, what is it, like Focus on the Family wives when they're trying to give like women advice, you know, when they're like, my husband just beats the shit out of me. And they're like, hey, girl, you need to pray to Jesus and just be the best wife he's ever had.
I think, God, yeah, no. If you're not locked up in a box with him, leave. If he beats you.
But if you're in prison, rub his feet.
Yeah, if you're in prison, girlfriend, rub his feet.
He's had a long, hard day of stabbing, honey, and you got to know that he is the spiritual leader of your prison marriage.
Yep.
That's I would take the Andy Dufresne route. I couldn't do it with taxes because I'm terrible, but I would just become like an indispensable like legal guy. Like I already have a master's degree, so I would immediately start going to like online.
then everyone would need you for reasons other than sex.
Yeah, so if someone's just like, I'm gonna stab this guy with a shank and then with my penis, I hopefully would become invaluable enough that it'd be like, can't do that, man. He's my lawyer.
Exactly. That's not a bad idea. Actually, I'm gonna take that idea too.
You're gonna be the lawyer girlfriend.
Exactly.
Honey, not tonight. I've got a big case tomorrow.
I gotta finish filling out my proposal, okay? Have all this paperwork and I am swamped.
We're gonna die in prison. Oh, so speaking of death,
honey, I gotta fill this out. Could you hand me a pen? I said pen, not penis.
I said pen, not penknife with a razor blade stuck in the end. So this Ask Amy, this is not a particularly like crazy sensational one, but it led me to some other questions. So
I do have some new Dear Amy's for us whenever we're at that.
Well, let me get through this hypothetical, and then we'll do our listener Dear Amy's.
Let's do it.
So this says, Dear Amy, my husband passed away a few years ago from melanoma. He was 26. He was sick for 3 years, battling vicious cancer before his death. Even though I was somewhat prepared, I was in complete state of shock and could not function, let alone plan a funeral.
Right.
My husband was so devoted to getting better that he wouldn't even talk about the possibility of dying. I wanted a simple funeral and cremation.
I know. Oh my God. Sorry to interrupt, but that's something you can't do. Like look. Everyone wants to live no matter what, but you always got to pay some lip service to. Well, what if you don't? You know, just to make sure you don't fuck over everyone after you're gone.
I mean, I've planned my death, and I'm pretty healthy right now. Like, I understand it's going to happen at some point. But so he didn't even talk about it, right?
Right. I plan my death like I plan my life. If anything happens, Wesley will take care of it.
I wanted a simple funeral and cremation, but his mother and stepmother would not hear of it, and quote, took care of the funeral arrangements at a local funeral parlor.
What?
When I received the bill, it totaled over $20,000.
Yeah, well, if his parents did the arrangements, they get to pay the bill. That's fair.
Oh, there's more. Amy, my husband and I were together for 7 years, but we were only married for 6 months. Uh, yeah, 6 months does not. That's tough, but 6 months is not a $20,000 funeral. I asked his
Yeah.
mothers if they were aware that the funeral they chose cost that much, and they both responded that cost was not their priority. In the
Well,
same
good. Now, that means they don't mind paying it.
in the same conversation, they both said that they couldn't afford to help with the payments. As sensitive a subject as this is, the reality is that I have hard feelings that they would be so inconsiderate when they knew that we were a young couple and I was already swimming in medical bills. It's very hard to maintain a relationship knowing that they left me with this added stress. What do you think?
I say, fuck those old ladies. Never stop pounding them. Never stop pounding them till they pay for that shit. Because do you know how expensive cancer is in America? It is
Yeah.
brutal. You are never going to stop paying for that shit. If one person in your family gets sick with cancer, you will be receiving $100,000 bills from the hospital till the day you die if you live to be 150. Like, there's no way you'll ever pay that shit off.
I got a couple of questions. Number one, if you just stiff the funeral home, what are they going to do?
Um, would they repossess the coffin?
I mean, it would ruin your credit, but I'm not paying. I'm not paying
If
twenty
they
thousand.
took care of it, how did her name get attached to it?
That's the other thing. I'd be like, fraud, fraud. They should pay for it.
Yeah, to tell the funeral home to send the bills to those ladies, tell them that you cannot pay for it, you will never pay for it, you did not set up these arrangements. They set up these arrangements, it's their bills, it's their problem. You wash your hands of this, you will never pay them a dime.
I would think I would tell them. I'd
But
be
but
like,
do be polite when you talk to the people at the funeral home to explain to them your situation. Be mean when it comes to the old ladies.
why be nice to the
polite.
funeral home people? Those are all bloodsuckers.
Yes, I know, but they're bloodsuckers that could be on your side when it comes to fucking over the old ladies.
Here's what I would do. I would threaten the old ladies with this. I'd be like, all right, you know what? Here's the deal. That $20,000, that's not just for his funeral. That was all your funeral expenses too. Cause I'm young and you're gonna die. And when you do, your funeral gonna suck. I'm gonna throw you in a ditch.
Yeah, that was my original funeral plans. Just throw
Fuck
me behind
it.
a bush somewhere.
I'd find out whatever they don't want, and I'd be like, you know what, ladies, we're not even gonna have a funeral. I'm gonna give both your fucking bodies to science.
You know what, ladies? We're not even gonna have a funeral. I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah, fucking, you're gonna be some fucking slow roasted pork at the fucking after party. Yeah, I mean, funerals are bullshit anyway. Like we've seen, I think it was Penn and Teller's bullshit, where like
Yeah.
how they rip you
they
off.
They prey on you because you're at your most vulnerable whenever a loved one just died or is about or after someone just dies, you're not in a good place to haggle over prices of coffins. So they convince you to buy like really shitty coffins that look nice, but they're actually pressure cookers that'll blow the body up inside of it. And people aren't aware of this. If the coffin seals wrong or if it's made from the wrong material, if there's a lot of plastic in it, it cooks and blows up the body. It's a mess.
Here's my thing, and I'm going to state this
Which-
for the podcast so it is down on record forever and everybody can hear it. If I die, guys, come back and listen to those Muckrakers episode 79. This is what I want to happen when I die. You ready for this?
Yes.
Nothing. Everybody go to a bar, have some drinks. My body, cremate it, and don't pay for an urn. And the only reason I'm saying pay to have it cremated is because it's kind of illegal to do it in your own backyard. Like they have an issue with that. Cremate it, put me in a fucking coffee can. You know what I mean? As cheap as you can possibly get. If you want to be fancy, if you're like
Like the dude or the dude's friend, I should say.
yeah,
In a
but like
coffee can.
if you're just like we really want to pay respect to Peter's body. Here's how you can respect me if you absolutely must put money into it. Buy one of those. There's these weird things where like you can buy like a tree and like pay to put the body in like the root ball of the tree and then plant it, and then your body nurtures the tree as it grows, and so your death has fed a tree and makes the planet better.
Okay, so everyone, here's my funeral arrangements. Are you ready? Muckrakers, episode 79. If I die, just in case, off chance there's no afterlife, I want to be frozen and send the bill to Wesley.
I was like, that's crazy expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, send the bill to Wesley. It's his problem now.
I want to see how much it is to put your body in the root ball of a tree.
Huh.
Because I think that would be a classy way to bury me. But I'm afraid that it's like, oh yeah, that'll be $30,000. You know what I mean?
How much is that root ball over yonder?
Biodegradable burial pods. Here we go. All
How
right.
much is that root ball over there?
All right, let's find out. All right, while I'm looking up this, I want you to tell me how much do you think this is going to cost?
A root ball? Like a thing to put a body in to feed a tree with?
Yeah, this whole thing, like putting your body under a tree and then planting it. Like, what do you think?
Because funeral home people are leeches and they tend to try to like gouge people for way more than they should. I'm gonna guess 500 to 1,000. What I think it should cost is around just 100 for like the bleh, but they probably want to pretend like they're trying to keep the body comfortable, even though you can't feel anything at that point.
I just want to. Well, how much do you think it costs?
But God, you know what? Realistically, let's go with 2,500.
2,500.
2,500, Bob.
These fuckers, these capsules are not telling me how much it cost, and it's super creepy because I'm at the website and there's a picture of a hand hugging a tree and it goes, "Hi, Dad."
Hold on, to the Google-ometron.
Yeah. I'm Google-ometroning it right now, but it's fucking taking forever. So you're gonna say
I'd like to buy a root ball that you feed a dead body to a tree.
So you're
God,
saying,
I'm on a watch list now, aren't I?
You're saying $5,000. I don't think you're on a watch list. I think you're gonna end up going to.
These are all like just normal feed trees. No. Feed a dead human to a tree in a root ball price.
I feel like that's not. Oh God, there's intro music
Here
in
we
a
go.
video.
Biodegradable burial pod turns your body into a tree. Cool.
Yeah, cost. Just Google the cost. Oh, really? This is crazy cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
I still can't. This is a CNN article about it, and I'm
It's
not seeing a price estimate.
$500.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing, guys.
But,
Listen.
that was my original price. Remember, I said 500 to 1,000.
I think you said. I think you said 5,000.
No, I said 500 to 1,000, and later I said 2,500, Bob.
So this is a biodegradable urn, and it has a natural beige. I don't care about the tone. It's going in the dirt.
Now, don't. I was really hoping they wouldn't have a picture of a dead body in the ball. I'm like, please don't show me that.
So yeah, basically, guys, whatever the cost of fucking cremating me is, put me in one of these urns. Actually, you know what? I don't even think you need the urn. Here's save yourself $500. Dump my coffee can shit into a hole with the fertilizer and plant the goddamn tree.
I think ashes would kill the tree.
No, ashes are good for trees.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I figured it would just be like there to soak up the moisture and the nutrients and not let it get to the tree.
No, ashes are good for trees, man.
Okay. I'm just picturing like certain areas of the Dark Souls series where there's just ashes everywhere, where like a city burnt to the ground and there's no plant life. It just smothers everything.
I guess what kind of tree do you want? Yeah, I'm not talking about like volcanic ash where like everything is dead and smothered. No, ashes in the ground are good, like for plants and stuff. What kind of tree do you want, Pat?
Redwood.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I want like a redwood or a sequoia because I just, you know what? I feel like I'm going real cheap on the expenses. At the very least, I'd like to make a big dick statement with my death.
Yep.
You know, I don't want him to be like, which tree was Pete? Just be like, oh, that goddamn tree was Pete. He fucking fell on my house. You know, like I want to cause some.
Goddamn Peter.
I want to cause some problems afterward. You know.
I picture like it's a tree that's struck by lightning. Part of it catches fire, then breaks off and falls on Sean.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. And then we just bury Sean next to me. But I'm serious though. Like, I don't even want because I hate the whole funeral home church fucking thing. Like, fuck all that, dude. Go to a bar. Find a nice dive bar.
But also, you have to remember something that Penn Jillette said is that dying means that everyone's done with your bullshit. So your death is about everyone else, not you. So he doesn't care what you want.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
what everyone else wants.
You're right, but I just don't want everyone to have a miserable time, like sitting in a church, and then some fucking asshole comes up and's like, "The life of Pete, here's some funny stories about the stuff he did." Ha! Like, fuck that, dude.
Once he set a guy's hair on fire. It's funny.
At the very least, if you're gonna have a fucking service for me, like at a church, get some drinks in there. I'm just saying, like, make people loosen up and feel not terrible. I don't know. I guess go to the church and then go to the bar afterward. I mean, I don't even know why it
God,
matters.
can you imagine how much Miguel's gonna cry at your funeral?
Oh.
Oh, it's never gonna stop.
Oh my God, yeah. That's why I want him to have drinks.
No, that's gonna make it worse. Okay, just require Miguel to be sober. Everyone else gets to drink.
That's so mean. That's so mean. Well, hopefully by the time I die, I will have made everybody hate me so much that like there will be no crying.
Well, I mean, you got to work on your diet, or you're never gonna live long enough to make that goal.
That's true. The thing about it is too, like, it comes down to that, like, I think I was telling you about the woman's prayer yesterday, where they're like, God, give me the confidence of a mediocre white man. Like, it's like the confidence that, like, yes, I will have a funeral and those that I love will be in attendance. Like, why am I so confident that would happen? I might be the last one alive in a horrible, like, post-apocalyptic scenario, or I may see everybody I love die in front of me and then also die.
Yeah. That's, could happen. So,
Speaking of mediocre white men.
It's like, look, I understand, Wesley, that cryogenic freezing is super expensive. That's why I'm only going to require you to pay for mine. I'm not going to ask you to pay for anyone else's, okay? Maybe a couple other people, but that'll be it. You just gotta. I was about to say you could just freeze the head, but I'm like, no, I don't necessarily want to wake up on an android body. So let's just keep the whole thing intact. And if parts don't survive the freezing, I can use yours because you got to be frozen too to greet me when I wake up.
Poor Wesley.
I just want to die. I've been alive for so long. Just let it end. No, Wesley, stay. Oh.
Poor Wesley. So you had a Dear Abby for us too, that we got more listener mail.
Yes, we're actually getting listener mail now, like, regularly. It's fantastic. It's almost like people listen to us.
We're so popular.
Popular are we? Popular as can be. Making our mark on society. We're the creme de la creme, not just another Jane Doe. Okay, what was I doing?
Are you gonna read the Dear Abby, or you're just gonna sing?
I was enjoying singing.
Singing little toddler songs.
Okay.
I saw an article about you the other day, and it said, like, mountain gorillas sing little food songs whenever they eat.
Aw, that's adorable.
Well, they're all dying off, too, so maybe they'll sing a little song about that.
Aww. Okay, so the name of this Dear Abby story is Size Does Not Matter After All. Okay. I think it's supposed to be Dear Abby. Here, Abby, I have a friend who was treated like a doormat by his girlfriend. She even bragged to her friends at work that she usually takes her orgasms until he was done on the very rare occasion she did let him get sex.
I was confused by that. I was like, what? What is that? I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Let's just forge ahead. Turns out the whole time she was having an affair with another girl despite him being very well endowed.
Well, right there, that seems like I don't know why she turned lesbian. Yeah, big old hog leg. Well, I don't really think that women become gay because the size of penises. I think they're gay because they're born gay and they don't like penises.
Maybe, or she could just be bi. I mean,
yeah. I'm just saying.
Do you think that she's with the guy because society says so, but she'll also, she's also willing to hook up with. No, but she would prefer women, is what I was trying to say.
It could be.
Or just she's good with either one, but she's a cheater.
Well, she's definitely a cheater, but, like, it's also just, like, I just don't think that penis size is why people... I don't think penis size puts people where they are on the sexual spectrum. I don't think that somebody's like, I was a straight man till I found a big old dick, and now I'm gay. Like, I don't think that's how it works.
Maybe whenever I'm in prison, if I, whoever I am the prison bitch of, maybe if he has a big old dick, I'll be like, you know what? That listener was right the whole time. This is a big dick, and now I feel, like, super into this.
Look, God, this is such offensive territory. I'm gonna say that if I had to be in a prison relationship, like if I was somebody's prison bitch, I would
prefer a smaller dick, is what you're about to say. But what if small dicks are bad?
At least at first.
Then you could be enjoying yourself more.
At first, I would enjoy a smaller I want to go slowly up the spectrum. You know what I mean? I would
I got you. That makes
I would
sense.
enjoy a
Work your
smaller
way up.
I would enjoy a smaller penis first, and then we can work our way up if we have to. But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's like whenever you order a hamburger and it's just too big and you wish you could like take some of the ingredients out, but you can't because it's a penis.
Oh, it's like the hamburger I had yesterday when I was like, I can't finish the rest of this. The only difference is if you're a prison bitch, you're gonna finish the rest of it. Like you don't have a choice.
He came home one day and she told him to get out, only with a small bag of clothes. He blames himself for this because she convinced him it was his fault. Should I tell him she has been cheating on him with a girl the whole time? She has been abusing him and keeping him from his friends. That's like a whole other like thing that I'd like to hear more about. How has she been abusing him?
I
Was that
mean,
like that sort of sprung in at the very end? It's like, okay, she's cheating on him. How do you know? How did you find out that she was cheating on him? Like, are you friends with her too, or
I
are you the lady that she's cheating on
yeah.
him with?
I'm always a big fan of like tell him, but like I don't know, man. If it's already gone south, like maybe tell him later. I don't know. He might already know. If he doesn't, like that's a hard one. He just needs to go.
She also told him to get out and handed him a small bag of clothes.
Which means
so are
that
they
like not
already
even
broken up?
yeah, which means
If,
that not even all his clothes. Like it sounds like here are some of your clothes. Get out.
here are some of your clothes. I've kept the rest for winter. What?
Yeah.
I'm making a squirrel nest.
Yeah, it just sounds like your typical bad like Southern relationship. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot of like he don't even know that when he's out, I'm eating coochie. Like, just like all right. You know, there's a lot of guys. This is super weird. So a lot of guys are like, oh man, it's kind of hot if my woman's cheating on me with another woman. But I don't know. My opinion is cheating is cheating. Like, it just I don't know. I think people should be more open about their relationships in general. If you're just like, hey, I'm bi, so I want to go out and sleep with some women. I mean, go for it. Just tell somebody. Tell the person.
I that would be weird. So if a woman said, "Hey, I'm bi, so would you consider this strap on?" and she handed me like a
I don't think that like they're like, I got a strap on, and now I
well,
want you to put this fake
women
vagina
can
in
put
your
on,
butt.
but you got to put it on the person, or it's not as good.
No, I think if they have a strap on, they're just gonna use your fucking
It's still on their crotch area.
uh, fucking mechanics. we, I mean, that's got to exist, like somebody with a strap on having sex with a fleshlight, but like, no one's gonna enjoy that.
I mean,
It's like when you were a kid and you would make your like GI Joes have sex. No one's really getting anything from that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you got two real dolls and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make him do it tonight. Like, who does that? I guess.
I couldn't do that anymore because then I would just be picturing like Mike Pence having sex with himself.
You gonna? Do they make a Mike Pence real doll?
He is a real doll.
Fair enough.
We established that he is a real doll.
Fair enough. That was a disrespectful question to real dolls. Of course, he is a real doll.
Exactly.
My favorite.
Okay, so
yeah, sorry.
okay.
Continue. Yeah, we sidetracked on this one.
Okay. So we actually have another Dear Abby that a listener wrote to us.
Yeah.
Now, we do want to keep the identities of our listeners private, so we won't reveal publicly who wrote this into us. However, I will be reading this in Wesley's voice because it's from Wesley. And also, I have yet to actually screen this, so I don't know what to expect from it. So apologies in advance if it ends up being something like weird and raceless, like or racist, like racist, like a.
I'm raceless. What do you mean? I mean that my skin is transparent.
Dear Abby, I saw a black woman today. What do I do? If it's something like that, I apologize in advance. I have to actually pull the thing up. What an evil bitch! There is this lady outside making her son feel so horrible, telling him that he looks stupid and horrible because his clothes don't match, and I was tempted to say something to keep her quiet.
Was there more?
She went on and on for a good 5 minutes, telling him because he could not match his clothes. Oh, he could not go into the store because people would think bad of her because his clothes don't match. Looks like she made him cry. What a bitch.
Was this the one where they're outside of Walmart?
I think it's at like the Fred's or whatever Wesley works at. I don't know why I invoked Wesley's name because this was written by Anonymous.
Well, that's a real Southern thing when you're just like, man, if we go into the Fred's and your clothes don't match, people are gonna talk. It's like, dude, you're already in like, if you don't know what Fred's is, it's like a smaller, trashier Walmart. Like,
It's like the dollar store if you can't afford the dollar store.
kind of, yeah. Like, so I really don't think that anybody is going to be worried what you're wearing in the Freds because they're probably going to be too worried over their own like meth sores, you know?
Yeah, they're gonna be wondering. Now I know that there's not a no shirt or shoes policy, but I ain't wearing pants. Do you think anyone's offended by that?
But yeah, it's like, what do you do if you see somebody like emotionally abusing a kid in public? What do you do?
Uh, I'd like to say I would do something, and in video games I would do something, but in real life I'd usually just ignore it because, I mean, if I actually see someone I've never seen someone just hit a kid abusively. I'm trying to wonder if I've ever seen someone spank a kid.
I've never seen
But
someone hit a kid, but that whole give me the
hit a kid would be different. That would be very, very tempting to say, hey, do something, right? Like try to shame them into not hitting their kid. But I've seen people yell at kids before and make them cry, and I usually don't say
because I
anything
think
because I'm just like, it's a lot harder to be a parent than some people
well, I think you're just gonna make
because
it.
kids drive parents insane.
I think you're gonna make it worse. You know what I mean? I feel like that
That too.
person's gonna like go even harder on that kid later. But my
There's that too.
but that whole
But
give me the confidence of a mediocre white man, that's gotten me in trouble a couple times.
saying that in public, suggesting it to people.
No, this the confidence of like I'm a white man, I'm mediocre, I can solve problems.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's the premise of this entire podcast. Like we're white men. We can solve problems. Tell us your problems. We'll answer them for you.
That should be the name of our show. The confident mediocre
We're white men. Let us solve your problems.
confident mediocre white men. Huzzah! Did I tell the story in this podcast about when I tried to stop a fight on the bus?
I don't remember, but you should tell us that
I'll
story.
tell you the story. So this was me like the whole hey fellas. I was on a bus a few years ago, a New York City bus. Nobody in New York City is happy to be on the bus. It's like the way that Obi-Wan described the Mos Eisley Cantina when he's like, "Never will you find a hive full of more scum and villainy." It's just not a good place to be. And we're on the bus. It's packed. It's raining. Everyone's pissed. It's humid. And there's this old there's this old man, and he's got like a fucked up old bike. And I get annoyed when I see people with bikes on public transit because I'm like, you brought one means of transit onto a second means of transit? Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
But he's not being polite. He's in people's way. They're trying to get on the bus, and he's very, very antagonistic. And so
it's like man spreading, but with an entire fucking bicycle.
He's bike spreading. Yeah. And he's just
bike spreading.
He's just irritating everyone. But like we're all just like whatever. And so he starts just sort of like, yeah, I run this bus. What the fuck you gonna do? Like, and you can see he starts getting into his head that he's somebody now. And
it's like poultry pots. My yard. Buck, buck.
Yeah, like the chicken that lived at my buddy's house. So he at one point another old man, a big old fat man, goes to get on the bus with a cane, and I guess has words with the bike guy, and the bike guy's like, "Yeah, man, fuck you. What you gonna do?" And you see the old fat man kind of like look at his cane and like just really considering like, can I throw down one last time because it'll probably kill me. And just everybody's irritated with this guy, and he's just like, cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfuckers. Like, I'm surprised he didn't throw the bus driver off and be like, I'm driving this bitch now. Like, that kind of pride, right?
Yeah.
So, but he fucks up because this other guy gets on the bus, and this dude, like, nothing. This dude just, you could tell he's made of just corded muscle. He's just boxer thin, just like a bantamweight. He gets on the bus, and the old guy's like, "Yeah, man, fuck you, welcome to my bus, motherfucker." And so this guy kind of shuffles past him and goes to the back, and the dude's still just talking shit. And finally, the young guy that gets on, he goes, "Hey, man, calm down. It's cool." And I was like, "Oh, good. Somebody is gonna step in and like, humanity is saved, right?" He's like, "Calm down, dude.
Yes.
It's cool. It doesn't matter." where you get off this bus, I'm gonna get off with you, and I'm gonna kick your fucking teeth in. Calm, nice as pie. And
Hey, guy. Hey, look. Don't worry, don't worry. It's all gonna be cool. It's all gonna be all right. Because the second we get off this bus, I'm gonna beat the unholy fucking
yeah,
shit out of
but
you.
he did it so nicely, and you could see the old man, just his face went, I have fucked up now. So
That is a hard thing to say politely. Even like then, when I was like, I'm gonna beat the fucking shit out of you, like a bit of malice leaked through. It's really hard to say that like stone cold.
that's what makes
calm.
it scary. And so the old guy kind of gets quiet, and we're driving along, and then he just goes, hey man, come on, it ain't no big deal. And he just goes, shh, it's cool, man. Listen, no, it's not a problem. Just it doesn't matter where you get off the bus. I'm gonna get off with you, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Okay? And like it's just the old man's like, I gotta come up with a plan. So they get off at my stop. I got off first. Old guy jumps off with his bike and tries to hold the bus doors shut, which doesn't work because the bus driver's like, I'm not gonna drive away until you let go of the bus. Young guy gets off, and so the old guy tries to jump on his bike and ride away, but there's that like, I gotta build up speed first. Young guy knocks him off, and like they're running through traffic back and forth, and I'm just sitting there with like my bag, like just watching, and I finally, when they were back on my side of the street, I talked to the young guy, and I just went like, hey man, he's just a stupid old man, like let him go. And he turns on me and goes, hey man, you want to take his ass whooping for him? And I went, no thank you. But while he was turned to me, the old man managed to get away. And so when he turned back to realize his prey was gone, I also ran away.
That makes you a hero.
I guess.
You did it. You saved him successfully. Your mediocre white man power saved the day.
Yeah, but it was like my mediocre white man, like, the way in my head, it was just, I envisioned more of a John Wayne, like, hey, Pilgrim, you're going to let that man go. And, but it just came out.
Pilgrim, here's what's going to happen. You're going to let that man go, or you're going to face justice at high noon.
Yeah. Just, it just, in my head, it went a lot more just like, listen, I'm putting a stop to this. I'm an authority. But when he
in reality, it was like, I know there'd be a few teeth knocked out of my head, but this is too many.
Yeah.
Well, this is too many.
Because he was so serious about wherever you get off, he was gonna beat someone's ass, and I was the only ass left. Yeah. So my mediocre white man was just like, I can solve problems. No, you can't. You can't. Don't solve bugs.
That was when I lured him into the alley and shot him. Turns out he wasn't that strong. Wasn't stronger than a bullet. I still have part of him in my refrigerator.
But yeah, so that was my mediocre fucking white man.
You're not gonna tell us how you got away from him?
I ran away to my apartment.
Lock the door. I picture this being like something that just happened, and like right now, bam, bam, bam. Hey, could you come out here for a second?
Yeah, no.
Your cat's out there with him. He's petting your cat.
I hot-footed it the fuck away, dude. Like I locked every door between me and the streets, and like I was like, oh god. I kept looking out the window to see if he was looking for me.
You look out the window. He's just standing there staring up.
But that was
tonight.
That was the voice of death, though. That was the. There's no anger. There's no posturing. A lot of people when they get in fights, there's just like, gah, 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 I'm gonna fuck you up, la da 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 da. It's the guy that goes, hey, calm down. I'm gonna cut your fucking throat, and then I'm gonna kill your whole family. Like that's the guy you got to be worried about. Heart rate doesn't move. Like pulse steady and slow. Yeah.
Yep. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, I haven't tried to break up any more bus fights, so.
Have you had one that serious since?
No. I just generally don't. I just ignore people now and don't get involved.
Okay. Well, we have, only about 10 minutes left of this thing, so let's try to get into the news.
Oh, man. So we want to talk about Baltimore.
We do, we do. So, a lot of people were wondering why it was racist for Trump to tweet that Baltimore was infested with rats and vermin that were breeding and full of crime, and nobody really wants to live there. It's racist because he only uses the language like infested and vermin and breeding when he's referring to places where black and brown people live. He exclusively refers to places where they are known to live in greater population than white people as infested with vermin that are breeding and crime.
Well,
He never uses that language for predominantly white places. He insults predominantly white places, yes, but he does not use that kind of dehumanizing language.
you know what's really fun
So,
about that though? That I thought was a fun, neat little button for that.
what's that?
His son-in-law Jared Kushner owns a bunch of property in Baltimore, a bunch of slums. So his own family are slumlords in Baltimore.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He's a real estate mogul. He's always been a slumlord.
And the problem with it is, though, is Baltimore does suck. And apologies to Baltimore. I mean, there's a reason they shot that show, The Wire, took place in Baltimore. It's a rough city. That being said, it doesn't excuse because, like, it's the same way when he told.
It's the president saying that the city that he is the president of is just shitty. Like, well, Trump, you do something about
Yeah,
it.
you're the fucking
Stupid,
Yeah, you're the president,
bloated.
asshole. Like, fucking, this is your fucking country. Why don't you fit? Yeah, that's the other problem too. Is like, it would be like if me as a teacher was like, you know what? Okay, look, fourth period is infested. It's full of crime. It's full of rapists. Like, that's your fucking class, bitch. You fix it. Like, you don't get to just be like, it's not my fault. Like, fuck you, dude. But yeah, but also
And
like, and people are like, yeah, but Baltimore is really bad. Yeah, we know it's really bad. Like, but it's the same way when he told people to go back to their countries. The reason that was shitty and racist is because he never said it to white people.
yeah, yeah. And also I mean, yes, a lot of the people he said go back to your countries to came from America, but even that's beside the point. The point is that he only says that shit to people who aren't white.
So if you've got the little piece of paper, the little flow chart that says is it racist, it should just say is it racist, and then there's an arrow that goes down to, well, do you say it to everybody or do you only say it to people of a different ethnicity? If you only say it to people of a different ethnicity, it's racist, and the next arrow should lead to go fuck your own face.
Yep.
It's the same.
So,
It's the same way. I've kind of worried about like mansplaining. Like, am I misogynist? And then I realized I don't mansplain to women. I mansplain to everyone because I get super excited about topics, and I don't know if people are really, really like into the Seven Kings of Rome or not.
I've never understood what. Now, okay, I mean, I get the gist of mansplaining, but I don't know what the limitations of it are. Is it that if you're a man, you can never explain anything to a
No, no, no,
woman?
no.
Like, if you're a teacher and you're like, well, I've got to separate the male and the female students because I can't teach history to the women because then that would be mansplaining.
No, it's a flow chart. Okay, so flow chart. Is it mansplaining? The arrow goes down to, do you only talk this way to women because they're women?
Okay, so how do I prove to people that I speak certain ways to everyone if I am accused of mansplaining? I never have been, by the way. I'm
I
just
think you just speak the same way.
humor
You
me
speak the same way to everyone. There's a really good book.
and just let the consistency show for itself.
Yeah, there's a really good book I read called
Okay.
Men Explain Things to Me. And I didn't realize this was a problem because people don't mansplain to me because I'm a man. The author was at a party.
That's true. That's true. That's why it's so difficult for us to know that much about the world because we are white men, and part of our privilege is we were never treated certain ways, so we don't know that certain ways of being treated exist. But continue.
So this woman was at a party with her friend who was like a PhD candidate and had written like can't remember what the book was on. It was something crazy technical that I don't understand. So they're at the party, and the host is talking to them, and he's trying to explain this scientific theory or whatever to these women, and her friend are like, oh yeah, she's got her PhD in that, and he's like, you should read this book, and she's like, I wrote that book, I'm the author. And he kept explaining to them even though they were like, she wrote the book you're basing this whole thing off of.
Mm.
So that's mansplaining when you're just like you're just bowling ahead with your explanation even though someone's like, I have a PhD, I wrote the book.
Yep. Okay. I can see that. I'm trying to, like, the best thing I can think of right now is whenever I'm talking about mechanics in Pokemon Go to new people, and I'm just asking myself, do I explain the exact same way to women and men. And to the best of my recollection,
I think
yes.
that's nerd-splaining. You're like,
That would be nerds playing saying, this is how you do a curveball.
Lena.
But yeah, like whenever it came to showing you how to quick catch, I would not like even whenever you're like, okay, I got it. I'm like, yeah, but no, Peter, look at this.
Well, I wasn't like I wasn't. You weren't explaining it. I wasn't a what do you call it?
You weren't the guy that programmed.
Yeah,
how
I
to
didn't
do
work
it.
for Niantic. Like I wasn't like I know how it works. I programmed the game. I worked on the last 4 Pokemon games. You know, yeah. So yeah, that's what mansplaining is. I like to always do the what's his name, Jimmy from South Park, and I'm like, hey, you know about this? Have you heard about this? And then I try to leave
Oh,
gaps in the
yeah.
conversation to ask people if they how much they know about the subject because I like to talk about it.
Yes, yes.
But yes, Baltimore
Okay.
not one of the best vacation destinations.
All right. So the next topic in the news is it's what's fantastic is Mitch McConnell is finally under the gun for once.
I love this.
So
I love this so
like,
much.
like Mitch McConnell is a really bad person if people are not aware of this, and he has been a bad person for a very long time. But he always stays out of the news because he's really good at pulling his head into a shell whenever the heat is on.
Yeah.
He's really good at disappearing.
I guess when we
But
talk about McConnell, we'd sing that little song, "The heat is on, the heat is on." I don't know the rest of that song, but yeah.
yes, a hound. It's like whenever Ernest P. Worrell sings "Oh Christmas Tree," and those are the only words he knows, so he just sings that the whole way through.
Oh, Jim Varney, you were taken from us too soon.
Burn, 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 burn. Yep. So McConnell voted down 3 unanimous bipartisan bills, which would have helped prevent Russian election meddling. Him striking them down opens the floodgates to Russian interference in the 2020 elections, which is also when his election is up again.
I'm gonna side with
So,
McConnell on this one, and well, I'm not siding with McConnell. I'm gonna actually explain why he did that.
okay, go ahead.
McConnell received a bunch of money from voting booth company lobbyists, and so I don't know if it's so much high treason as he's just getting that paper. I mean,
Well,
it's still high
yeah.
treason. He's going to burn down the. He's also I think
I've
the
seen.
richest guy in the Senate. But yeah, he's going to
Yeah, yeah, by far.
burn
He,
down the
he is the richest
country,
senator.
so he can make some of that sweet voting machine cash.
But I just like the meme that says it's like McConnell saying, I can see Russia all the way from my bank account."
Yeah. Well, what?
Yep.
So hit us with the nickname that they're calling him now. I love it.
This nickname has been trending for days on social media now. They're keeping it in social media by changing it up slightly all the time, but it's basically the whole time you're there, Moscow Mitch. Moscow Mitch is trending everywhere, and they are keeping it in the news so well.
Nice.
Even during the Democratic debates this week, one of the Dems, I can't remember who, referred to him live on national TV as Moscow Mitch.
Oh, God
And
bless
finally, so many people called him that Mitch McConnell himself actually addressed it before the Senate. He said that he called it modern McCarthyism, right?
Are we
So
gonna try to start calling him McCarthyism, Mitch?
we're sticking to Moscow Mitch. We're not letting that
I don't know
disappear.
if
We're
you
keeping the heat
I
on
think it
him.
was the last time he was up for election, and this was I actually like this other nickname better, but there was some coal mining magnate, the guy that had made his money on the backs of coal miners, and he'd actually just served prison time for unsafe mine conditions that killed people, but he ran a campaign, and his campaign slogan was like, "Let's ditch Cocaine Mitch." Because I guess there was something to do with McConnell, some weird tenuous connection between McConnell and
Oh,
cocaine.
I remember that. His wife was accused of trafficking cocaine, I think.
It wasn't even a real accusation. It was some conspiracy shit. But I love let's ditch Cocaine Mitch. Like,
Moscow Mitch is working so much
so let's
better,
ditch
though.
Moscow Mitch.
It's sticking to him, and it annoyed him enough that he talked about it. I'm surprised he even mentioned it. Most of the time when people have like this type of stuff, hammering away at them, they never talk about it. Like every time Trump gives someone a nickname, they never address it. They never acknowledge it. But Mitch McConnell actually acknowledged his own nickname, apparently unable to take in what he's been enabling dishing out.
Well, I want to start a challenge to our listeners. If we have any listeners that are bartenders or bartending inclined, I want to, if someone probably's already done this, I want someone to make up a drink called a Moscow Mitch, and I want to know what goes in it.
a
I,
white Russian.
oh, I was gonna say it's probably definitely vodka based.
Yep. So, by the way, also back there, you remember how some people are trying to say that the whole election interference thing was like Obama deep state stuff?
Yeah,
And part of the reason why they say that is because Obama never made any official statements acknowledging Russian interference during the 2016
that's because of
election.
Moscow Mitch.
That's because of Moscow Mitch. McConnell's the one that blocked Obama from being able to, formally announce this emergency.
And there's a lot of stuff I don't like about Obama, but I will say that like he was a president on his way out, and to seem in any way like he was interfering with the election would have had dire consequences. He needed full Senate and congressional support. They had to go for it. If they was going to have to be bipartisan if they were going to come forward and say the Russians are fucking with our election during an election. But since
And it was bipartisan, but Mitch McConnell blocked it.
yeah, so old Moscow Mitch, fucking up our democracy. So one of the things I was thinking about how horrible this political thing that we're going through is, and I had a ray of hope. I went, my God, this must be what it feels like to be a medieval peasant with a shitty king.
Yeah.
Like your only hope,
Yep.
your only hope is you're like, well, maybe he'll die.
Yep.
Like that's it.
Maybe it'll be one cheeseburger too many.
You're just looking at the king to see how healthy he is, and that's a thing too that I feel bad for medieval peasants is like those kings had so many close calls and still lived, and you got to be like, oh, maybe he'll die. No, the dysentery didn't take. Damn it.
Oh, the dragon got full right after he ate all the orphans, right before he ate the king.
But yeah, just in this weird, what other means of political discourse do you have? I don't know. Praying that he'll die.
Yeah. So very quickly, let's talk about the Democratic debates.
Oh
because,
man. Oh man.
Hopefully, we'll actually have some Dem news coming up, and it won't all be so grim. But anyway, night one. So there were two different nights because there's like 5 million people running for the Democratic.
I hate that so much. It's like, dude, you got to clear the stage.
And they probably will soon now that the debates have started. Fun fact, this is they're at the Fox Arena right now, and this is where Trump famously talked about his wiener on stage in a presidential debate. First president in history in a national televised debate to talk about his wiener.
To be fair, Lyndon Baines Johnson talked about his wiener a lot in private to people.
So anyway, night one, Bernie was on fire. Warren also had a good showing, and nobody else on stage mattered. I think that's about all I have written there. I have a few things. Tim Ryan, this was funny. He thought he got a burn on Bernie when he told Bernie you don't have to yell at one point. And first of all, this is the perfect time in American politics to be yelling. Secondly, the saddest thing I've ever seen in politics was Tim Ryan thinking that he got such a sick burn that he actually put you don't have to yell on merchandise the next day.
Well, I like what somebody said about it. They go, don't have to yell. They're like, he's just a passionate Jewish man, and this is how we talk.
I think it was Colbert that said, yell? He's not yelling. That's his whispering voice.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean I don't have to yell? I'm not yelling. This is the voice I read my grandchildren bedtime stories with. They didn't sleep until they were 30.
He's got that kind of voice that you can just imagine, like you're just driving down the road with your parents, and he's just going off in that same tone about some like just inane like around town bullshit. Like, and I looked at the prices for a new garden hose at the Fred's. $4.99. That's outrageous. Like you're just like, oh my.
$4.99. That is bumkiss. They should not be charging that much. They shouldn't charge a dime over $3.42.
My last garden hose had it for 20 years. Cost me $1.99. Like that. Like it's just you're just like, oh God, why are you putting so much passion into this? But yeah, it's just how he talks.
Fun fact, I can't even do Bernie's voice sitting down because my lungs can't expand that much. I have to always have to stand up to like really get a full voice. You know, the millionaires and the billionaires need to ride the bus.
I think it was the first
Bernie
debate
Sanders.
when they brought up one of the medical care for all bills. And Bernie was like, I wrote the damn bill. And I'm like, yeah.
Yes. They were like, what was it? You can't say that for sure.
Yes, I can, because I wrote the bill. I wrote the damn bill.
He did say damn.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and the guy that saw like, go ahead and point, Bernie. And he's like, whoa. And he pointed. It's like, yeah, of course he points. That's what he does. He makes gestures.
So so out of all the debates, and I didn't watch them, I should have, but it's hard to do stuff. The one person I didn't like, who everyone was like, she really crushed it, was Marianne Williamson.
Is that Oprah's friend?
Yeah. So the reason I don't like Marianne Williamson is because she believes her spirituality-focused campaign can heal the U.S. She was also an anti-vaxxer and then backed off of that.
She is. Oh, she backed off. I thought she still was. I know that she thinks that you can cure cancer by imagining it as Darth Vader taking off his suit and revealing an angel.
Yeah, she's one of those people that doesn't believe. Well, maybe she believes in hard science.
Now, for the record, I really like her, and I like the way she talks, and I like this kind of stuff. But I don't think that maybe someone who is president should.
Yeah,
talk that way.
Well, here's the thing, and here's my fear.
Now, if she becomes the nominee, I would vote for her in a heartbeat over Trump.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
But I'm worried that.
But that's because I would vote for Moscow Mitch over Trump. Oh, would I vote for Moscow Mitch over Trump?
He'd be a way better president than Trump.
Yeah, I agree. At least he would stop embarrassing us on the national
stage. He's a savvy operator. I hate him, and I think he's the devil. He's the new what was Bush's VP's name? He's the new Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
But definitely a savvy political operator. But
anyway,
my problem with any of the Oprah Winfrey friends or spiritual guides and self-help experts is at their base, they're charlatans and hucksters that are hurting people because they're telling people stuff like, you know what, you don't need those medications. What you need is to read my book and just live positively. That doesn't help everyone. Some people have serious mental and physical illnesses that need medication.
Yeah, that's what killed Andy Kaufman, is that he went to some what's the word?
Shyster, huckster, charlatan, fucking liar.
Out somewhere that could remove his cancer, and he realized it was just a slight, a palming trick of, oh, here's your cancer.
But a lot of those people on Oprah the Winfrey Show are even Dr. Oz had to do a Senate hearing about his fake bullshit medicine. But yeah, she worries me because she seems like she would be one of my biggest fears, which is the coming of the leftist Trump. So now he's a super, now you get a super duper feel good person that makes bad policy decisions, but they make you feel good. That's why they like Trump on the right, because he makes them feel good,
Yeah. He can't actually solve any of their problems. In fact, he makes them all much, much worse, but they feel good.
And one of the things, we'll probably run out of time before we can really get into it, is she also believes that $100 billion in reparations for slavery over 10 years, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one.
I've thought about reparations for a long time, and the conclusion that I came to is I'll just let other people tell me what the right answer is.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know. That's difficult for me to say, because we would be giving, or people who kind of sort of look like people who owned other people who now kind of sort of look like the people who were owned are paying each other money, but none of them actually participated in that. But at the same time, white people have been terrible, and a lot of the Jim Crow white people are still alive. But
yeah,
anyway,
it's very
and how much the white man kept the black man down.
It's
forever has definitely cost a lot of people a lot of money that they earned.
It's very very difficult, and we're far enough removed from slavery that. I think that it would be a logistical nightmare on how would you do.
I was wondering if we owe reparations just for how shitty we were to everyone in the '60s and even '70s, frankly.
I mean, I think we
and further back from that, of course.
I think reparations for the Jim Crow era would make more sense.
Yes, that's what I was
but the
saying. I wonder if we should.
But you run into a logistical nightmare of how you distribute that money accurately and fairly. I
like the Chappelle show where there was just a giant truck full of Newports that someone was driving away in.
Yeah, and not even to mention just the anger and the other problems it would cause with people that, what about the abolitionists that lost their lives during slavery? Do they get reparations for that? You know what I mean? There's a lot of ins and outs. And I don't think she's the woman to figure it out. 'Cause she's just a self-help,
guru.
My love, and I think I actually might switch from AOC to devoting the podcast to Elizabeth Warren. She is
Yes, I do love Elizabeth
she is
Warren. She's my number one pick for president
She
right
is
now.
fantastic. I may just write her name in for president, even if she doesn't win the nomination.
She has a quote that that I really, really liked during the debate, which I thought, oh, fuck, let me run back to my notes.
Well, while you're
actually, I think...
while you're looking at your notes, you did send me a clip of my favorite Chris Matthews from Hardball. Chris Matthews has always been famous for just shouting people down. And so
Yes.
Chris Matthews was interviewing her about Medicaid for All, I believe, and he was just like, "I'm Chris Matthews. Will your taxes go up? Yes or no?" And she refused to answer the question the way he wanted. And she goes, "But it's not about that. It's about the cost that it's going to save people, that people are going broke that have insurance, that have to pay for stuff." And he's like, "Why don't you answer the question? I'm Chris Matthews."
What's the net savings here? What's the economic... Or what difference will it make economically to people, and in the end they'll come out ahead? Because here's the thing, he's arguing the way, what's that guy called, the right wing? I can own the libs.
Ben Shapiro. It's that same.
He was a Ben Shapiro argument where his idea isn't to actually debate you; it's to ask you a trick question where no matter what you answer, either he's right or you're a baby killer.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
you basically,
trap.
Like we've done this before on the podcast where I was like, "Ask me about anything," and you asked me about something, and I like tied it into like killing children. I'm like, well, do you agree with killing children? Yes or no? And so that there's got to be a name for that debate style, but it's irritating. It's not an actual, like, you're not debating the topics. You're just trying to box somebody into answering your question by badgering them, like, until they answer your question in a yes or no format.
Right, you're just pulling them over to your playing field. You're setting the rules, and the rules say that you win. So he's like, well, does it raise taxes, yes or no? And she's like, that's the wrong question to be asking here.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, would it raise taxes? Who cares? It's probably going to tax the shit out of the rich, but I don't care about the rich. The fact of the matter is everyone will benefit more. It is way more cost efficient just to give people health care than our current system.
I'm going to go ahead and say this, buddy. I'm broke, and it's not from paying taxes. It's the cost of living. Yep. Taxes take a chunk out, sure, but it's not like taxes are what's making me poor.
Yep. So Warren said something really good at one point during the debate. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, you don't win the presidency by talking about what you can't do.
Yeah, that's also what bothers me when people are like, we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, then what the fuck can we do?
Yep. So true. So just remember, Obama was all yes we can, not maybe I'll think about it if it's in the budget. He was yes we can, fired up, ready to go. That was Obama. As much as I hate the bloated, shitty, derpy Trump, he always said that he would build the wall and deport them all, not maybe we'll inconvenience a few Mexicans and slow them down a bit, and they're going to be so mad when they have to
I would love it if he changed his whole political program to, like, make Mexicans inconvenienced again.
But the winners of these types of elections are the ones shooting for the moon and promising people, the moon and the stars with easy-to-digest sound bites.
Because listen, guys, I'm going to tell you something. Okay? Last time we shot for the moon, we got there.
Right. The Dems on stage, the Dems on stage that are talking about how to budget health care can't win because they're not selling people a message of that would... They're not selling people a message that would appeal to stupid people, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Right.
The Democrats already have smart people, the smart people vote locked up, but that's only like 5%. That's not enough votes to win. They gotta sell the message to everyone now. So they need their short little sound bites of, we're gonna give you health care, we're gonna give you college, we're gonna give you all this shit, and even if we don't, we'll be working towards it. But don't say even if we don't. Never bring up that point.
Listen, man. Yeah, you're trying to win. You're not about like don't get them. Don't bore them with the dollars and cents. Just hit them with, and also like just expand Medicaid. Like just do it.
Yeah,
like just
Medicare for all.
Yeah, Medicare for all.
Medicaid for all. And we wouldn't even have what we have right now if not for fucking. I was about to say LBJ, not him. FDR. If not for FDR, we wouldn't even have what we have now.
LBJ gave us fucking Medicare and Medicaid, so.
I did mean LBJ.
Even the shittiest.
I'm getting initials mixed up.
Yeah, man. Even the shittiest president of the '70s, Nixon, gave us the EPA. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, that's God. I so miss that. Where the last criminal president we had was still at least a good guy if you weren't Jewish.
Or black or a hippie.
Like, yeah, like Trump is not only bad to all the people he hates, he's bad for all the people he likes. Like he's bad for everyone. He's a total worthless sack of shit. He's completely wasting our time, and Americans' government's running on a skeleton crew, and a fuckload more people just quit this week. Did you know? Do you know how many House Republicans are stepping down?
Oh
Like, like,
man. Well,
like another 8 this last week.
it's the Senate we need to step down. I want to talk about one more guy before
Yeah.
we go. My favorite. I call him my favorite Democrat, John Delaney.
Oh yeah.
I mean that like sarcastically. He's a soft Republican. He's a soft penis Republican is what he is.
Go on.
The only thing he said that I like, he brought up that like young people should have to serve 2 years in like federal service somehow, and I 100% agree with that. I just don't like what I think he would do with it, which would be to force you to work for a for-profit corporation. I think you should have to work in the public sector. You can't work for a corporation because that's just slave labor.
Yeah, yeah.
You should have to work
And
for the post
I
office
don't-
or in the
I
Capitol
don't
or in the
agree.
Army.
I don't agree with forcing people to work anywhere. I don't agree with forcing people to do anything. Like the entire time I was in school, elementary and high school, I was against that. But as an adult, I see why it exists, but I just wish the entire school system would be overhauled, and the current person in charge of schools will not do it because all she wants to do is make private schools
Well, a lot
richer.
a lot of other countries do it and do it very successfully. And the reason I want it, when you turn 18, you have a certain period of time to serve 2 years, military, like I said, post office, like something to do it somewhere in the public sector, because I think it builds a national identity. I think it gives us job training, and I think it's just generally good for the country. But I don't think we should do it if we let the corporate interests be like, oh, we're gonna force kids to work for me. But my point is, fuck John Delaney. Overall, fuck this soft penis Republican. Get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people up there on stage are polling less than 1%. Like they're polling within the margin of error. They might not have anyone that supports them.
But he
So-
does have.
But Warren is doing better and better. So is Bernie. Biden is still the top runner, and I don't know why. Like he's
No,
he hasn't done anything. He hasn't had a single fist pump moment yet, and I think I know why. I think I know. Actually, I do think I know why he's doing so well. But first of all, I was going to say Biden was part of night 2, which was last night.
and
or the night
everybody
before.
just beat on him, right?
Yeah, the entire time. But I have 2 things to say about that. One is straight from the get-go, he had a gaffe. When Kamala Harris came out to greet him, Biden and Kamala were the first 2 people up on stage because of their famous exchange at the last debate.
Uh-huh.
And when Biden greeted her, he said, "Go easy on me, kid." And everyone gave Biden shit about that. Like, the internet was on fire. Hey, he's talking down to her! He's like, no, he's an old guy, and that's how they
No,
talk.
it's stuff like that makes me like Biden.
Yeah.
Even though I don't want him to be president, he's just got that affable, like, go easy on me, kid. I've only been here for 20 years. Like, that's just a funny, like, and then he puts on his aviator sunglasses and we play the end music of Top Gun, you know?
But the other thing I was going to say is fucking CNN just wants to turn the candidates against each other. The entire time they're trying, they're so... They just want the spectacle over the substance of the debates,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
They don't care
absolutely.
about people actually talking about points. They're just framing all the questions as, so-and-so said shit about your mother. Are you going to take that shit?
Yeah. Like,
Your response?
fucking
It's
go.
like, what? And that's why they introduced Biden first and then Kamala Harris second. Kamala Harris, by the way, is probably my third choice right now for president. It would be like Warren. Actually, Kamala might be second. Warren, Kamala, then Bernie would be my top 3 choices right now.
So I guess, and I know we're running out of time. What happened to Beto O'Rourke? Like, he was like on fire, and then like,
no,
then,
he is not doing well.
and just everyone goes, wait a minute, why did we? Oh, we like this dude
because
because
he wasn't Ted Cruz.
because he wasn't Ted Cruz. But yeah, now that like the options are more than Ted Cruz, everyone's like, he just seems like another mediocre white man.
Yeah. And but Biden, I know why Biden's doing so well. It's because he's not doing so well that everyone likes him. Because, oh, first of all, they know the name, they know the face, so that gets them to pay attention to him. And then all he does is just bumble and fuck everything up, and that makes them like him because that's so much more relatable than people that are actually doing a good job. And that just reminds me of John Oliver talking about Boris Johnson, saying he's a bumbling oaf, and that's why everyone finds him so relatable and likes him so much.
Well, the thing about, again, Biden is a soft penis Republican.
Yes, he is. He's one of the few
And that's-
that is not talking about giving everyone health care, so fuck him. That's why he's not in my top 3.
That's why he's polling so hard, because Republicans feel safe if Republicans had to vote Democrat, they would vote
They felt
Biden.
safe.
But they're not going to vote Democrat. They're going to vote hard dick Republicans. So, like, I don't understand why we keep trying to be like, well, maybe if we just put a soft penis up there and call it a Democrat, that they'll be okay with that. Like, that's why he's polling so high. Fuck him. Your time's over, old man. Fucking get off the stage, kid. Like, yeah, I mean, he seems like a guy that'd be fun to have a beer with, but I don't want him to be president. So that's my whole spiel on the Democratic debate. When are we going to get the Republican debate?
There's not one.
What? There's not one?
No, it's just Trump. He's the only candidate.
That's not fair, because I was going to ask about that. I'm like, so if the party backs the current in-office president, does he still have to debate with other Republicans?
No, only against the Democrat candidate. And that's only going to be in, like, next year in October.
I wanted to see some Republican challengers. I think they should still have to have a debate.
I mean, a couple people have challenged him, but, like, no one's paying them any attention.
Yeah, so what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to chew each other up, and then Trump's just going to walk in, and, like, no one's going to have been chewing on him.
Yeah.
Because I would just love to see his own party challenge him for the shit he's done over the last couple of years.
That would be amazing. I mean, all the people that hate him for what he's doing are leaving now. Like I was saying, 8 more people left this week. And the person who's in charge of...
I'll say this about them. Fucking cowards.
Did you know that the person in charge of intelligence in the U.S. just stepped down and got replaced with a toady?
Well, I mean, I was surprised that there was any U.S. intelligence left. Hey-o!
Hell! But yeah, fucking cowards, like you were just saying. Going back to the...
I'm gonna retire my seat.
The
Bitch,
House.
Why don't you stand up for some shit that makes sense, you fucking cowardly motherfucker?
Because they said it was fun when they were the majority leaders in the House, but now that they're not, it's just no fun. And they're like, one person who was in charge of agriculture said, "Well, I'm not in charge of agriculture anymore, so I just don't like it. I'm gonna leave."
Is it hard to govern the government? Oh, poor baby. Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck them all.
Yep.
Fuck them all, Pat.
Fuck them all. Fuck them all. Eat the rich.
And fuck Tom Delaney. You fucking... Sorry, Tom Delaney just looks like the kind of guy that would call the cops because I was using the pool at the apartment complex I lived in, but he didn't believe I lived there.
Yeah. You know, every apartment around me has a pool, but I don't. I'm just going to go swim in one of those pools and see how long until I'm arrested.
Well, just wait. Just be careful that you don't run into a Tom Delaney.
He'll definitely call the cops on me.
He seems like the kind of guy that would call the cops.
Knock, knock. Who's there? The audience replies, and you're like, "Who the fuck are you people, and where am I?"
I didn't say I had like a dementia fit.